I want to thank you for visiting my YouTube channel, Hester's Horrors. I will be reading my first part one story of Date Night on the chat line. Here we go. I hope you enjoy. One Friday night, Kay was watching television and winding down from a long work week. She saw a few food commercials as well as dating and online chat ads for singles. The way the commercial describes the dating app was that they were to create a profile with one picture and you immediately start feeding with others until you select a picture of a person you were interested in chatting with. Once you click their profile, it will route them to a private chat. She saw a handsome man chatting with everyone, and over his profile picture, this stated it was not an illusion. Open your mind. She was intrigued, so she fell for the bait and clicked to begin. Her conversation with him was flirtatious but clean. He continued to lay it on thick and Kay, which made her excited that she chose him as a chat. She learned from his mysterious ways that he was a business owner of a multi-chain family funeral home business. They were all over the country. But she gave him very little because Kay wore lots of hats in her lifestyle. They both made the decision to video chat after weeks of emails, chats, and flirting. Once they saw each other, they began to smile and laugh like old friends and began their conversation where they left off. The video chat went for hours until Kay decided to call it a night. After the phone she received, she stated that she had to get rest before the weekend came. She told him good night, and just a few minutes before midnight, he says, "Until we meet again soon," and blew her a kiss. Their phones disconnected. About 3 a.m., Kay was awakened by her neighbors, Tian and Edward, yelling and arguing. This was normal for them. They were pillars of the communities, among with charities, donations, and feeding the homeless, a power couple, but not to agree on a basic choice of changing the paint in the guest bedroom. They were the Obamas of the neighborhood, except for the yelling and arguing part. We realized it was them. She just decided to go back to sleep. 2 hours later, around 5 a.m., a loud thump was heard at Kay's door. She jumped up and looked in the many cameras, and the closest one was by the wall near the thermostat. When she looked at the camera, there was no one on the other side. A few minutes later, she heard the neighbor across the street screaming, "Stop! Don't do this, please, no," multiple times. About a few minutes later, it became silent. She wanted to look out the window, but she was still startled from the thump she heard at the door. As soon as she felt relieved, the lights went out. So she decided to prepare for the worst and moved towards her basement. Kay had a few spaces built in by a private contractor, and the layout was not displayed before or after her purchase of the home for personal and security reasons. The safe spaces are the final steps towards the bottom of the basement. One room was camouflaged in the wall. There were no knobs, lines, definitions, or anything. No one could ever know that that space was there. There were other secret rooms that were built up for her lifestyle further back and below the basement. So while she set up to support her comfort space, cameras were set in motion everywhere except those spaces that she built, and she wanted it that way. She put her cell phone on silent, dimmed the light so she could not be discovered and remain hidden. She sat at the space and practiced this multiple times, and always had reception with her cell phone as well as her landline. So this put her on high alert when both were not working. Moments later, she heard a loud scream. You won't get away with this. Followed by one more scream, and everything went silent. As Kay was about to put the code in to leave out, she heard two male voices upstairs. One said, "Is this the house you were tracking on the app?" Her throat became dry. Her skin became pale. Her ears were hot. She could not believe what she was hearing. And the voice that she did not expect, the one she chatted, he said, "Yes, she has everything here like he said." Tears of rage flowed down her face. In her mind, who is he? But she knew she just could not believe it in that moment. When she began pushing buttons in her security system, this would trigger certain doors and alarms to close and open. She heard the guy said, "I saved her for last. We can get the most important of all, as he requested." Now she was pissed. Just in that moment, she heard glass breaking, thumping, movements of furniture until the voice said, "Where the fuck is she? You know what she's worth." Just as he said that, one of the alarm doors defaulted in the basement. She heard footsteps as they started to brace herself. They were coming down the stairs when one of the guys spoke in fear and shock. "What the hell is this?" A chamber came down, which locked them on both sides. They were looking for a way out, and when they turned around, she was standing on the other side of the chamber glass. We continue for part 2. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for coming to Hester Horrors YouTube. Have a wonderful and fearful evening.